Okay, let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to NTPEP's webinar series. Today, we will discuss NTPEP's product evaluation programs. We created the NTPEP webinar series to provide information on the programs that NTPEP has to offer. And today's webinar is the second in our series. Our first webinar covered our audit programs. If you missed that one and would like to review it, we do have that on our YouTube page, and a link will be provided at the end of this webinar. And just a reminder to everyone, today's webinar will also be recorded. Today's webinar will be presented by myself. I'm Van Tran. I'm the Associate Business Development Manager for NTPEP. We also have Dawn Bickford, Maine DOT Product Evaluation Coordinator, and Lynette Rizos, Wisconsin DOT Signing, Marking, and Work Zone Materials Engineer. On today's webinar, we will provide information on the NTPEP Product Evaluation Program. That includes an overview of technical committees, work plans, the product evaluation process, how DataMine works, hear state testimonials from Dawn and Lynette, and close with any questions that you might have. The NTPEP Product Evaluation Program combines professional and physical resources to evaluate materials, products, and devices for use in highway and bridge construction. And the results of evaluations become available in DataMine. And we will go into detail on DataMine further into our presentation. Please note that NTPEP only reports data. We do not certify products, provide approvals, or pass-fail data. And states can use NTPEP test data provided in DataMine to compare to their own individual acceptance criteria to determine if a product passes or fails. NTPEP is a non-biased solution to states. NTPEP contracts with both private and state labs to carry out tests, and all product evaluations are completed in accordance to a work plan. And we will go into detail on work plans in this webinar also. Some of our products are tested in the lab or test decks. There are products that have both lab testing and test decks. The test deck products are tested on an actual roadway. We have different states that are host states for test decks. The testing is also weather dependent. So many products need to be tested in cold and warm weather. So we have certain host states that lay out test decks for cold weather and others for warm weather. And on the next 3 slides, we list the current products in our product evaluation programs. They're divided between traffic safety, construction, and maintenance. Each evaluated product has a technical committee, and each of these technical committees is comprised of a chair, vice chair, state members, and industry representatives. Each state that is on the technical committee has a voting member, and all members of the technical committee, whether voting or non-voting, receive the ballot and can make comments, but only the voting member can actually cast a vote. Additional members from the same state agency are non-voting, and all industry representatives are non-voting. The technical committees develop work plans and provide oversight and guidance throughout the product evaluation process. All product evaluations are completed in accordance to the technical committee's work plans. Both state members and industry representatives have input in creating work plans. Industry provides input, but only the member agencies will be able to vote on these documents. And the work plan clearly defines the product and specifies the procedure used by the contracting agencies to perform NTPEP product evaluations. And all work plans are balloted for approval by the technical committees and the NTPEP committee before being implemented. Work plans are comprehensive documents that follow AASHTO standards and ASTM test methods in evaluating products. The work plan specifies the procedure used by contracting entities to perform NTPEP product evaluations, and the work plan becomes part of the contract between AASHTO and the contracting agency. There are some instances where there are no standardized test methods available. For example, the portable changeable message signs and flashing arrow panels. Work plan does not have a standardized test method available. So in those cases, the evaluation methods are developed by the technical committee. This is then balloted through the technical committees and NTPEP committee for approval. General turnaround time of testing and testing results is outlined in most work plans. And there are several work plans that do include a reevaluation requirement. Technical committees will review reference standard methods to determine if methods need changes. Scheduling of testing and timely release of data is outlined in the work plans. There are some products that have a fixed test cycle, and applications for product submissions must be received by an established cutoff date. This may be done, for example, to ensure everything is in place before products are slated to be installed on a field test deck. And there are products that are tested in intervals. The results are collected during certain time frames, such as at 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. The technical committees meet every quarter and during the annual NTPEP meeting. During these meetings, work plan changes can be introduced and discussed. And any changes agreed upon by the technical committee will then be balloted to all technical committees members and the NTPEP committee. Now we're going to discuss the product evaluation process. The manufacturer will submit an application for their products in DataMine. The NTPEP liaison assigned to that particular technical committee will review the application. If the application meets the criteria outlined in the committee's work plan, then the NTPEP liaison will approve the application. And once the application is approved, an invoice will be issued to the manufacturer. Testing will not begin until the invoice is paid. The lab will begin testing after the invoice is paid and test samples are received. For products that require field testing, the test deck host state coordinates with the manufacturers on installation of products on test decks. And once the testing is complete, the test results are inputted into DataMine by the lab, and the results are reviewed by the lead state, and the results are then released to the manufacturer for review and released to the public. NTPEP DataMine is the online repository of data for all NTPEP services. And this is where manufacturers can submit their products for evaluation. And evaluations documentation is also managed in DataMine. All data associated with the product evaluation is entered into DataMine. And this database provides you the tools to perform queries on current and past NTPEP evaluations. This will help you in analyzing and reporting on current and past product evaluations. Industry partners are also able to review product information. And the link to DataMine is below. The next few slides will highlight some of the features of DataMine available to users. This is the home page of DataMine. Products are divided into traffic safety, construction, and maintenance categories. So if you're looking for example, rapid set concrete patch materials, you will go to the maintenance tab and select rapid set concrete patch materials and click on that. It will take you to a page that looks like this. The products will be listed and status on the product will be shown. In this example, you can see that 4 products are still in testing and 1 is complete. You can also do a data search and search by certain criteria. So when you click on the data search tab, it will take you to this page right here. You have the ability to narrow your search. The parameters will be different depending on the technical committee you choose. In this example, for rapid set concrete patch materials, You are able to narrow your search down to test, attributes, and values. If you click on the Products tab, it will take you back to the list of products. And when you click on a particular product, on the product information page will come up. Manufacturer contact details and any attached documents are available on the product information tab. In order to access product information, state users will need to be logged into DataMine. And on the test data lab, you will be able to see test results as long as the testing is complete and data has been reviewed and released. And the next slide will show a screenshot of that page. So on the test data page, you can look at test results. You can see lab testing results, field evaluation, and any additional documents. Now, the data presented in DataMine varies depending on technical committee requirements. Some products only require lab testing, and there are some that require both. There are many benefits to NTPEP's product evaluation program. It will reduce costs to states by reducing in-house testing. Access to lab and field test data that individual states may not have the resources to perform themselves. The product evaluations are meaningful and unbiased and serve the needs of member states. And work plans are living documents that can change with the needs of committee and state members. It creates opportunities to share information and technical expertise with other states and industry. And the NTPEP product evaluation program also raises the bar on product quality through side-by-side comparison of products. We now have state testimonials on how NTPEP has benefited. Our first state testimonial is from Don Bickford with Maine DOT.
Don, I think you're muted.
I do that so much. Sorry about that, folks. So my name is Dawn Bickford. I'm the product evaluation coordinator for Maine DOT. I also wear some hats within NTPEP as chairs of our Upcubed and new product implementation task force. And also I am the co-vice chair for asphalt release agents. So NTPEP has, depending upon how you look at it, 26 technical committees, 37 separate work plans, and these include 9 audit programs with 14 different types of audit and 1 task force for new product implementation. The amount of testing that all of these encompass saves Maine DOT countless hours in testing and thousands of dollars in testing costs. We're a small state, so we don't have the resources that a lot of bigger states do. So this is a huge benefit to Maine DOT. And considering the recent soaring costs of products, it is a better use of our resources to use NTPEP, and the savings are critical to Maine DOT's budget and to maintaining our infrastructure. Maine DOT also requires that any test data submitted by a manufacturer be independent test data, and NTPEP data will satisfy this requirement for us. The program also saves manufacturers money in testing costs because they don't have to provide a separate set of testing for each state. Generally, for an established list, we first call out in our acceptance criteria that NTPEP testing is required. And then we list the minimum criteria that a product must meet. This is the standard language we use on all of our product acceptance criteria when NTPEP is required. I think it's really important to be consistent so the manufacturers know exactly what you expect, to have those expectations written out and to communicate them in a regular manner to the manufacturers. Maine DOT will not evaluate any products for inclusion on a QPL that has a NTPEP requirement if they have not been through the NTPEP testing. And in these instances, we will not accept independent test data from another lab. For many instances in which NTPEP is required, the need for the product to be on the qualified products list is also stated within our specifications. We do this because as new products and new test methods or even updated test methods come on the market, we can update our minimum criteria without having to rewrite the relevant specifications as often. The slide shows an example of our testing. Sometimes test program will have products that the manufacturer has not submitted to Maine DOT, but we need an alternate to the originally planned product because of supply chain issues, and we don't have a replacement on our QPL that is equivalent. And then in these instances, we would go to the NTPEP test data, and we can use that data for finding a suitable alternative to the product that meets our specifications. Another instance is that often the NTPEP testing that has been decided on for a product type is a commonly agreed upon testing protocol within the industry. And because of this, we can use the testing protocol as the framework for the acceptance criteria I mentioned earlier, and also in our minimum requirements. And with new lists, we can then use the NTPEP data to start populating a list. Maine also requires manufacturers to submit a certificate of compliance every 5 years, but for NTPEP testing programs, sometimes that retesting cycle is less than 5 years, and we will use that cycle to make it easier for manufacturers. I've included my email address here, and if you have questions after today about how Maine DOT uses the NTPEP program or how we use the audits, just drop me an email and we can chat. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dawn, for taking time to discuss how NTPEP benefits Maine DOT. Now I turn the presentation over to our next speaker, Lynette Rizos with Wisconsin DOT.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lynette Rizos, and I am the signing, marking, and work zone materials engineer for the state of Wisconsin. And I also am the pavement marking materials committee chairperson. Okay, so I'm just going to speak directly about the pavement marking materials program and how it benefits Wisconsin and being a host state. So in Wisconsin, I actually got involved with NTPEP about, I want to say 7 to 8 years ago when I came into the program and when I came into our materials program as working with our pavement marking program, and we needed to do a total overhaul on everything. So one of my driving things that I was doing was how can I develop standards? How can I develop criteria that's going to allow us to accept products that's universally accepted? And I had stumbled on NTPEP after a lot of research. So one of our big things is that we are constantly improving all of our products, our product programs, our signing, marking, and work zone materials. So pavement marking, we're constantly trying to get through, I'm constantly trying to develop criteria that is going to provide Wisconsin's road users the best quality products, but also make sure that we're staying within a budget and then we're getting the best products possible. So NTPEP was the best route to go. We get to work closely with industry, and I also get to work closely with other states. One of the things that's great with NTPEP is that our state has now become highly visible to other states around us, and that opens up a lot of relationships where I can talk to states on the East Coast and states, other than just in the Midwest, states out west as well, because for a while we were kind of closed into just the Midwest states we would interact with, or states that were connecting to us. The other nice thing is that seeing products firsthand makes it really nice for me. So if something comes up or I see a product really pulling ahead for us, when I need to pitch something or write up a proposal, I have the ability, if we have an active test site going, I can say, hey, I want to just show you what this looks like in person, because pictures are great, videos are great. But when you have someone actually step out on the roadway and see it, they go, wow, okay, I can see what you're saying now. So that's another reason I love being involved with this. It's just I get to see all kinds of techniques, and it really gives me a nice demonstration when I need to figure out a way to present a new product. So we had hosted a test deck in 2017 as well. That was the first year that I had been as involved with NTPEP as I was, and that was my first time hosting a test deck. So working on this test deck and organizing it and doing all the work that I did with it, it really helped reinforce the products that we were choosing to put on our APL and the requirements that we had for that. Because prior to that, I was looking up all kinds of data from, I believe Minnesota had hosted, and so did Pennsylvania, and similar climates, but not the same. And that had helped me develop specifications. But now seeing everything firsthand really gave me a hands-on experience. Wisconsin, we take pride in being innovative, and the test deck really helps us continue to come up with new ideas, even if it's not just products, but how something's installed. So seeing how these vendors install their products is really interesting, or methodologies that I'd say, oh, I never thought to do that, or this might help, or this might be another way we could look at things. And even talking to the vendors while they're out there and just listening to their little suggestions, or even if we don't use that product, them explaining to me how it might, if we were looking down the road to do a pilot, this might be a route we can go. So as I had said earlier, Wisconsin, we did host the 2017 pavement marking materials test deck, and we actually had the largest number. 2017 was the largest number to date. So since then, I scaled back our 2022 with how many products we were able to install, but it's just showing that this program is in such high demand, especially for vendors to get their products out there. As I had said, more and more states are requiring this data because it's uniform. I see the same data that Indiana would see, or Maine would see, or Florida would see. So it's a nice way for vendors to have uniform data for everyone, knowing that we're getting the same test results and they're not using 6 different labs to do, accelerated weathering or so forth and so on. So how I use the data at the Wisconsin DOT. So I created qualification standards from data mine. And the data that I was specifically looking at was durability, retroreflectivity, color, bead data, and application thickness. So as I had said, I developed this criteria based on what I was seeing on NTPEP, but I also looked at other states' criteria that had similar weather and traffic to us. So another thing that I also do is that I look at the historical data of products that have been applied over other test decks. So this helps me to figure out if I need to improve, if I need to change standards, if I need to add something to our standards, if I need to add something in there. Maybe I'm seeing, the color isn't surviving as good as it should be, or, something's changed. So it's really nice because I'll look at if there's a product that's been applied year after year after year. It's really nice because I can keep track of that product. Now, we do not require vendors to resubmit to us unless they've made some sort of formulation change, or there's been a proportion change, or anything like that has changed. But if everything has stayed the same, I don't require a reapplication. So we don't require states like every 4 years to submit new data to me, only if they've made a change to their formulation. So as I had said, this is how I've created the standards for Wisconsin, just based upon the historical data and, past application rates. That's really all that I have, I believe. Yep, that's really all that I have. But I just want to let everyone know, if anyone out there does have questions regarding how I've created my standards, and I'm only speaking for pavement marking, I do also work on our work zone, temporary traffic control, and our signing. I maintain those materials as well. You can contact me. But also, if your state is interested in potentially hosting a test deck for pavement marking, or you just like to learn more about it, please feel free to contact me as well. My email, I'm sure Van can get that out to everyone as well if anybody does have questions for me. So thank you for letting me speak on this.
Thank you so much, Lynette, for taking time to discuss how NTPEP benefits Wisconsin DOT. That concludes our presentation. I hope that you were able to gain information about NTPEP's product evaluation programs and share with your state member peers. We have one more webinar in our NTPEP webinar series. We will be providing information on our unique patented proprietary products program, otherwise known as UpCubed. That will be on Wednesday, November the 30th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I hope you all can make it. And an invite will be going out after this call. We do have some time for questions. So if you have any questions, if you could just enter that into our Q&A in the Q&A box, and we'll answer that for you. Okay, it doesn't appear we have any questions. And that is all the time we have today. Once again, thank you everyone for attending NTPEP's product evaluations webinar. I have provided links to our NTPEP homepage, our data mine homepage, and NTPEP's YouTube channel link. My contact information is also on the slide. So please send me any additional questions that you may have. Oh, I see we have a question popped in. And I believe this is for Lynette. What type of material is covered by the PMM technical committee?
Okay, so we actually cover all pavement marking materials. So we have waterborne paint, solvent-borne paint, two-part durable, so an epoxy product. We also do polyureas, MMA, permanent tape, and then I'll just dive into this quickly. There's temporary tape as well, which that's a whole different test series that we do. It is installed on the test deck, but it's only a 6-month test period. And then we also do preformed thermoplastic and hot extruded thermoplastics. Did that answer your question? Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynette. Does anyone else have any more questions? I'll give everyone a couple minutes to type out any questions that they might have for either myself or Lynette or Dawn. All right, we have a question. Do we have a program to cover bridge coating?
I believe bridge coatings would fall under our protective coatings category. Or actually, it'd be under our HFTO, high friction and thin overlays. Apologize.
I guess it depends on what kind of bridge coating they're talking about. We have structural steel coatings, we have concrete coatings and concrete sealers, as well as the high friction and thin overlays.
Okay, Resh is asking about Steel Bridge. And Robert is asking, is C1315 curing compound testing covered?
Concrete curing compounds are covered. C1315, and I'd have to look that up. Is that a cure and seal? Or is that a curing compound, straight curing compound? I'd have to look at the spec on that. Straight curing compounds are covered. Cure and seals, I do not believe are covered.
I'm also providing Lynette's contact information in the Q&A, so I'm sending that over right now for everybody.
I just looked up the C1315, and yeah, that is a curing and sealing product as opposed to a straight curing compound. And I don't believe that that type of product is covered at this time.
Do we have a program to cover steel bridge coating?
Yes, we have structural steel coatings. That's in the protective coatings technical committee.
And then, of course, if anyone has, would like additional information or would like me to send information on particular technical committees or anything in general over product evaluations, I'm happy to send over any materials or for you to further look into the programs. I do have my contact information on this last slide at vtran@ashto.org.